Once, they were the crown jewels of American life, monuments of prosperity, icons of suburban culture. Now, they rot in silence. Flickering neon signs buzz without purpose. Cracked tile floors collect dust. Escalators lead only to darkness. The echoes of forgotten laughter haunt hollowed-out storefronts, where mannequins once stood in frozen welcome. As of 2025, over 25% of all American malls are either abandoned, demolished, or decaying beyond recognition. These aren't just failed shopping centers. They are the carcasses of a consumerist dream gone feral. But what really happened? This story isn't just about retail. It's about us. About what we believed in, what we built, and how it all turned on itself. Welcome to the autopsy of the American mall, a cautionary tale of desire, decay, and denial. The first enclosed shopping mall in the U.S. wasn't born from greed, it was born from hope. In 1956, Austrian-born architect Victor Gruen opened the Southdale Center in Edina, Minnesota. It was a revolutionary concept, not just a place to shop, but a community hub. A self-contained utopia with gardens, cafes, art installations. He dreamed of walkable spaces and cultural enrichment, an antidote to the isolated sprawl of post-war suburbia. But that dream was swiftly hijacked. Capitalism saw not a community center, but a profit engine. By the 1980s and 90s, malls had metastasized across America. Over 1,500 malls stretched from coast to coast. Every suburb had one. Every life revolved around one. They weren't just places to buy. They were places to be, to see and be seen, to define yourself through consumption. But beneath the skylights and polished marble, the mall was already becoming something else. A hollow promise wrapped in fluorescent lighting. By the late 90s, malls had ascended to their apex, shining palaces of abundance. Anchored by giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Nordstrom, they were empires of illusion. Infinite choices, infinite growth. But American capitalism has a fatal flaw. It doesn't stop at enough. Developers overbuilt. Speculators overpromised. Towns with 30,000 residents suddenly had 3 malls. Supply dwarfed demand. Competition cannibalized profits. And then came the quiet killer, the internet. Online shopping wasn't an earthquake. It was erosion. It chipped away, slowly, invisibly. By the time the cracks became visible, the foundations were already rotting. What followed wasn't just economic loss. It was cultural disintegration. Between 2010 and 2020, a grim term entered public consciousness. Dead malls. Anchor stores fled. Investors pulled out. Families stopped coming. And what remained were empty husks, eerie time capsules of a world that no longer made sense. Security guards patrolled silence. Playgrounds collected rust. Food courts filled with shadows. A few were repurposed as offices, churches, shelters. Most were left to decay. Others became surreal filming locations or hotspots for urban explorers. But in every case, the message was the same. The system that created the mall had devoured it. Consumerism had reached its terminal velocity and then folded in on itself. We weren't just watching stores close. We were watching a ritual die. The mall wasn't just infrastructure. It was identity. It was where teens rebelled, where generations mingled, where the American middle class briefly felt seen. And now, it's vanished, replaced by apps, deliveries, isolation. We've traded shared space for digital simulation. What we gained in convenience, we lost in connection. No accidental encounters. No window shopping with friends. Just targeted ads and scrolling dopamine. In every empty escalator and broken tile lies a deeper question. What did we really lose when we stopped going to the mall? Some malls persist. Most are ghosts. A few became data centers. Others, medical hubs. One was turned into a zombie-themed amusement park. But the soul of the mall? That's gone. Because the mall's collapse wasn't about shopping. It was about our own reflection. It held up a mirror to our desires, our excess, our belief that happiness could be bought. It collapsed not because it failed, but because it succeeded too well. And the wreckage left behind is more than concrete and glass. It's a question no one wants to answer. What happens when the machine built to feed us decides we are the meal? This was the invisible collapse. Subscribe for more stories of vanished dreams, collapsing systems, and the hollow architecture of modern life.